if I can speak to that issue in one regard. I thought that one of the
I know I get that way sometimes. We're just, I don't drink it. Usually I don't drink enough. But yeah. That's not too bad. Yeah.
And at home I've got the whole house.
Victorville water's still pretty good.
I
We're
did
lucky
when
in
my
that.
husband was. Okay, thanks, Pat.
Yeah. Getting longer and longer.
Okay, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Planning Commission meeting for February 14th, 2018. I'll call this meeting to order, and roll call, please.
Chair Kurth,
Here.
Vice Chair Porter, Commissioner Huber, Commissioner Dew,
present.
Commissioner Marsh.
Here.
Thank you. If you'll all please rise for the invocation and then the pledge led by Commissioner Porter. Lord, we thank you for the opportunity to meet tonight. Please bless everyone at this meeting so that the decisions that are made are in the best interest of this city and its citizens. Amen.
Please face the beautiful flag of the United States and repeat after me.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one God, indivisible, with liberty for all.
We have a set of meeting minutes that need to be dealt with from the January 10th, 2018 meeting.
I move the approval of
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Huber with a second by Commissioner Dew to approve the minutes of the January 10th, 2018 regular meeting of the Planning Commission. All in favor say aye.
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 All opposed, nay. The minutes of the January 10, 2018 regular meeting of the Planning Commission have been approved.
Thank you. And agenda item number 1, staff report, please.
Chairman, Commissioners, agenda item number 1 is PLAN 17011. It's a site plan and a conditional use permit to allow for the expansion of an existing self-service storage facility, reliable self-storage, and it's at 13755 Seneca Road. The expansion is occurring on the 5-acre parcel to the south of the site in 2 phases, one with RV storage and the second phase with all units replacing the RV storage. If the commission has any questions, staff is available.
Any questions? I'll go ahead and open up the public hearing on agenda item number 1. If there's anyone here to speak to us on number 1, please. Seeing no one, I will close. We do. Come on ahead.
Good evening, Commission. My name is Oscar Perla with CTEC,
evening.
developer of the site. We just want to say thank you for the opportunity, and we look forward to this development and serving the residents of Victorville.
Great. Thank you. Any questions for the applicant?
No.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Anyone else to speak to us on item number 1? Seeing no one, I will close the public hearing and bring it back to the commission for a decision.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we find the project categorically exempt under CEQA, Section 1533, development projects. Adopt Resolution P18, site plan portion of case, subject to all conditions, and adopt Resolution P18 for approving the conditional use permit. PLAN 1711, subject to all conditions of approval.
Second.
We have a motion by Vice Chair Porter with a second by Commissioner Huber to approve PLAN 17-00011. Any opposed? All in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed, nay? Case PLAN 17-00011 has been approved.
It's been approved. Good luck, sir. Agenda item number 2, please.
Yes, Chairman, Commission, the following 3 items are related as they are all 50-foot high wireless poles for the Water District. The Water District is transitioning from mobile or auto wireless meter reading to stationary. This is to streamline meter reading and to save time and money. This is especially acute on the west side of Victorville, while the parcels are still generally spread out. Agenda item number 2, PLN 1714, is a site plan and conditional use permit to allow for the construction of a 50-foot pole to mount to a 5-foot omnidirectional water department antenna. It's located within a detention basin on the west side of Highway 395 north of Dos Palmas Road. And staff did receive one phone call from a concerned resident, but once the location away from the residence and the slim pole was explained, the resident was satisfied. If the commission has any questions, staff is available, including Joe Ogg from the Water District.
Thanks. Any questions on this one?
No.
Being none, I'll open up the public hearing on agenda item number 2 if anyone would like to speak to us.
Good evening, everyone. I just noticed that on all these items, there is an exemption of the CEQA, and I was just wondering why the reasoning was for that. That's my question. Thank you.
Sure. Chris, do you want to, or one of you guys want to give the, how we handle it historically?
Under CEQA Section 15303, it allows for categorical exemptions for the construction and location of new, small facilities or structures, as well as the extension of utilities. And since water systems are listed under this exemption and meters and meter reading devices are considered a part of the water system, staff found that the wireless water communication facilities are exempt from CEQA per section 15303D.
Additionally, if you look at the site on the aerial before you, you can see that the site's been heavily disturbed, and the possibility that there is any endangered wildlife there is another reason why we would support an exemption.
And that's when we usually see that, is when it's smaller, infill, already
Exactly.
disturbed type of sites. Okay. Anyone else to speak to us on agenda item number 2? Seeing no one, I will close the public hearing and bring it back to the commission.
Chairman Kurth, I find the project categorically exempt per CEQA Section 15303, new construction. Adopt resolution number P183, approving the conditional use permit portion of case number PLAN 17-14 and adopt case number PLAN 17-14.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Huber with a second by Commissioner Dew to approve PLAN 17-00014. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Case PLAN 17-00014 has been approved.
Thank you. Moving to number 3, looks like we have similar projects, just different parcels.
Yes, Chairman, Commission. The second facility is agenda item number 3, PLAN 1715, and that's a site plan and conditional use permit to allow for the construction of a 50-foot pole to mount a 5-foot omnidirectional water department antenna, again with an environmental exemption. This one is located on a parcel containing a water tank north of the California Aqueduct and south of Eucalyptus Street, just east of Bellflower Street. Again, if there's any questions, staff's available.
I have one question. Is this similar to an Omni range that they use for flights, airplane flights? Which gives you a 360 radius?
When I don't know if Joe can answer this, but when I looked it up, it's a type of signal that radiates the shape of a donut.
Yeah, well, so it must be 360.
Yeah, oh yes.
Yeah, okay.
Definitely
all right.
360.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, I'll open up the public hearing on agenda item number 3. Is there anyone to speak to us? Being no one, I'll close the public hearing on number 3 and bring it back to the commission. You can decide on the donut.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to find the project categorically exempt per CEQA section 15303, new construction, and adopt resolution number P-18-005, approving the conditional use permit portion of case number PLAN 17-00015, and adopt resolution number P-18-006, approving the site plan portion of case number PLAN 17-00015.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Marsh with a second by Vice Chair Porter to approve PLAN 17-00015. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed, nay? Case PLAN 17-00015 has been approved.
Thank you. Moving on to agenda item number 4, another tower near Olivine Road.
Yes, Chairman, Commissioner, the third and final facility for tonight. Agenda item number 4, PLAN 1716. Again, is a site plan and conditional use permit to allow for the construction of a 50-foot pole to mount a 5-foot omnidirectional donut water department antenna. It's located adjacent to 3 water tanks south of Olivine Road and west of Mesa View Drive. Staff did receive a concern from a property owner developer to the southeast of the site that owns some finished lots. This was addressed in the staff report. I don't believe he particularly likes the facility, but he didn't seem to completely opposed. And if staff's available for any questions.
I'll open up the public hearing on number 4 if there's anyone to speak to us. Seeing no one on number 4, I will close the public hearing and bring it back to the commission.
I'll find the project categorically exempt per CEQA section 15303. Top resolution number P-18-7, approving the condition. Adopt resolution number P-18-8, site plan portion of case number PLAN 17-16.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Huber with a second by Commissioner Dew to approve PLAN 17-00016. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed, nay? Case PLAN 17-00016 has been approved.
Thank you. And I forgot to ask while that was open, Mike, how many more of these do we expect to see for these wireless towers to get the coverage we need?
According to Joe, that we'll see a series of co-locations, which we already have 2 submitted in so far. If they can't obtain a lease through a site, we will see new facilities, but I'm not sure of the exact number.
I was just curious.
It will be citywide.
Probably be seeing a few throughout this year. Okay, thank you. Agenda number 5 is a ninth request for continuance. Any new information on that one?
Yes, the developer's still working with the adjacent property owner to work out some underlying easements. Again, this continuance is on the applicant's request. Staff has it queued up, ready for action by the Planning Commission when the applicant's ready to bring it forward.
Any questions?
Somebody's dragging their feet here. We have continued this 3 times just on the basis that they were going to get signatures and that there was a scheduling conflict. But like I said, we have this memorized, and I would sure like to see them conclude this item at the next. If we continue this to March, I would like to see it be acted on.
Another option is the commission could choose to continue it to an undetermined date. In that case, we would notice the project again when it's ready to be heard.
Now, does the applicant pay for that additional notice?
Table it, yeah. Yes, the developer would be requested to pay the postage.
Thank you.
How rare is it that someone's going to continue with something until a date unknown? How rare is that?
It's happened in the past. Usually we try to get these items and all of the issues related to the items resolved before we notice the project. In this case, the adjacent property owner was unaware that there was a new development occurring, so that's what sparked the discussion between the neighbor and the applicant over some underlying easement issues. So it's unique. I'm hoping that they resolve it in the coming weeks, but it's essentially out of our hands at this point. We've offered to assist in any way we can, but it's a private matter between two property owners over an easement that affects both of the properties.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right. I'll open up the public hearing for agenda item number 5, if there is anyone to speak to us on number 5. And seeing no one, I will close the public hearing on 5, and I'll make a motion to continue this item to the March 14th, 2018 Planning Commission meeting.
We have a motion by Chair Kurth with a second by Commissioner Huber to continue PLAN 16-00029 to the March 14th, 2018 regular Planning Commission meeting. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay.
Thank you.
Case PLAN 16-00029 has been continued to the March 14th, 2018 regular Planning Commission meeting.
Thank you. This is the portion of the meeting where we'll take public comments in general. In compliance with the Brown Act, it is necessary for the Planning Commission to make available time for members of the public to address the Planning Commission on items of interest that fall within the Planning Commission's subject matter jurisdiction. Is there anyone here for a general public comment? Yes, sir.
Hello. So my name is Eric Tredo. I'm a concerned citizen regarding, as you may know, today's news in Florida where 17 school children were killed in a mass shooting. And with that, and along with in 2018, there have been 50 mass shootings, and 18 of those have been school-related. What I want to know, and regarding, I believe this weekend there's going to be a gun show in Victorville. So as a concerned citizen, I would like to know what is being done in terms of that, and how can we limit or maybe essentially maybe help prevent a tragedy. And as much as that it would break my heart, because even knowing down the hill in San Bernardino, as we may know, the terrorist attack. So I just want to remind you that I don't want to live in fear. I don't want to live in fear for my siblings. And yeah, I just want you guys to know that you guys have obviously some power to help prevent this or prevent anything. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, and those comments have been made a part of the record. Thank you. So we're on to a general comment. Yes, please.
Hello, I am Sandy Gaitan. I am from Adelanto High School. I am a member of Friday Night Live, and I am here because our organization is very concerned about what could happen if our movie theaters start selling alcohol.
Interrupt for 1 second. I think did I put the public comment out of order? No. I did not? The one you're speaking on right now, I believe, is item number 6 that we're just getting ready to open up.
Okay.
So if you hang out for just a moment, we're going to open it up and get our staff report, and then we'll be able to take comments because we got some cards from you
Thank
guys.
you.
Thank you. Hold on just 1 minute. Item number 6, staff report, please.
Yes, Chairman Kurth, fellow commissioners. This item was brought to your attention at our February 13th meeting. It is a request by Cinemark Theaters to allow for on-sale consumption of beer and wine at the theater complex. Currently, our municipal code does not have provisions pertaining to alcohol sales at movie theaters. So there were some options that were presented at the December 13th meeting. Is if the commission can find it similar to a bona fide eating establishment, they could also find that it would be prohibited, or they could also find that a conditional use permit would be appropriate to regulate the use further. At that meeting, the Planning Commission wanted to know more information from the Sheriff's Department, have them weigh in on the issue, and also hear from representatives of Cinemark Theater. Since that date, we've met and had correspondence with the Sheriff's Department. They are not opposed to allow the on-sale consumption of alcohol at the theater. They did express that there should be limits placed on the size and quantity of the drinks served. We've also reached out to Cinemark Theaters, and there is a representative here today that has a PowerPoint presentation, and they should be available to answer any other questions you have. Staff's available if you have any questions.
Questions of staff? Can we start with the representative and the PowerPoint?
Good evening. My name is Steve Rawlings. Sorry about that. Good evening. My name is Steve Rawlings, and I'm here this evening on behalf of Cinemark Theaters. Also here with me this evening is Matt Dunn, who actually works for the Cinemark Corporation on a corporate level that is in charge of managing the beer and wine and alcohol program throughout the United States. So we're going to kind of tag team this presentation. I did want to walk you kind of through a couple of things. I have been, just on a note, since about 2012 or 2013. I've worked with dozens of communities with permitting alcohol to be served at various theaters throughout the state of California. And, I appreciate the process that we're going through here because we recognize the fact that up until just a few years ago, this is a brand new type of venue for alcohol service. So I think it's really appropriate that we come through and we give you a presentation about kind of what the program is so that you get a better understanding of what it is. It's new to your community, and again, I just appreciate the opportunity for us to share with you guys a little bit more details about the program. I'd like to start off, though, with just a quick little handout, if I can. Thank you. And all this was printed off of the ABC website last September, and I apologize it hasn't been updated, but I think you'll understand the gist of what I'm trying to communicate to you. This is a list from the ABC website of movie theaters in the state of California that are already doing this program, selling beer and wine and spirits in their movie theaters. And what you'll notice is I did a printout of AMC movie theaters, obviously Cinemark. Cinemark, by the way, owns also Century Theaters. So if I say Century or Cinemark, please forgive me, but it is one and the same company, just two different types of brand names that they operate out of. But on there you'll find the theaters that AMC is currently operating, Century, Cinemark, Edwards movie theaters, Regal cinemas, and then some brands that are a little bit lesser known and might be geographically more in Northern California. But in total, I think what you guys can see there is that there is over 100, I think the number is about 120 or 125 movie theaters in the state of California presently serving beer and wine. And those are theaters that are similar in nature to this type of theater. This isn't like a downtown kind of artsy theater. This is what I like to call your mainstream types of movie theaters. So this, almost every major movie theater chain is now introducing beer and wine into their as part of their standard concession offering throughout the country. It's not just here in the state of California. So with that, I wanted to kind of give you some specifics about Cinemark and our program, and then Matt's going to augment that with a few comments too. So anyway, the next slide, or am I able to?
The controls are at the podium. If you push the green button, you should go to the next slide.
Got it. Okay, thank you. This just gives you a quick overview of Century Movie Theaters. Right now, they operate 335 theaters across the country in 41 different states. The other big bullet point on that is that they are currently selling in at least 75, and this slide might be dated. Matt will have a little bit more accurate information for you on that. A lot of people have asked me the question, beer and wine in movie theaters, and what's driving that. Quite honestly, it's being presented to its current customers as a luxury amenity to encourage people to continue to come out to the movie theaters. It's no secret right now that the home theater market is certainly prevalent in every community. I don't know if I know anybody that doesn't have a big flat screen TV with some kind of sound bar or something along those lines, and you can stream movies and so on and so forth. You can pause it. You can get up and go to the restroom and come back and so on and so forth. So there's a lot of allure and appeal to the home theater market, but in the movie theater business, they're looking to kind of upgrade their offering by offering upgraded menus. The food that you can get there, it's no longer just nachos. If you go to a movie theater, there's a lot of really great menu items, including sandwich wraps and gourmet type pizza slices and so on and so forth. And in addition to that, there's a lot of customers that would like to be able to simply enjoy a glass of wine while they're watching a movie, similar to what they would do at their home. And it's a way for the movie theater industry to kind of continue to offer better service, better experience to continue to keep people to come out to the movie theaters. So with that, I'll move along a little more quickly here. These are the locations in California that Cinemark is, and I believe that this is a little bit of a dated slide since the slide was made. I think we've added 2 or 3 additional locations here in the state of California. Our alcohol control policy. So this program has been vetted and has been tried and tested in many of our different locations. We take the dispensing of alcohol extremely seriously. All of the alcohol that is proposed for this particular theater is dispensed at the concession counter. And we like it to be at the concession counter because then the individual that's coming up there, we have an opportunity to look at that individual. We get a better opportunity to look at the identification, a better opportunity to look at the person and compare the identification to the person that's there. We get a chance to observe the individual to make sure that they're not clearly already intoxicated. And also we have a lot of management staff and other people right there at the point of sale there to kind of keep a few extra eyes on the on the transactions and the people that are coming there. When you are there, you're asked for an ID as well as a valid movie ticket. If the movie ticket that you present us, the movie's already over, we don't serve you. We don't want anybody hanging out. It's intended when you normally buy maybe your concessions. Most of us buy our concessions before we even get into the movie theater. We buy our ticket, we come into the door, we make a purchase of popcorn or a soda or Milk Duds. That's kind of my vice, and at that point in time, that's when most people would make a purchase of an alcoholic beverage and then walk into the theater with their alcohol and so on and so forth. So everybody obviously goes through some kind of ID check. Our employees are exceptionally well trained, and in some cases we send them to the LEAD training program, which is put on by ABC. We do guest monitoring. Now, we do guest monitoring anyway, but this is a much more thorough check where the individual actually walks up and down the aisle. And this might be a part where I might, hand off a little bit to Matt that can kind of explain the program just a little bit more detail. This is not just a look in the auditorium. This is a walk up and down the aisles kind of check to make sure that we're policing what's going on in our auditoriums. And at a minimum, we're sending somebody in there at least every half hour, and they're there to kind of observe what is going on in the auditorium. All beverages are served in clear plastic containers that are different than any other cup. If you came in to buy coffee, you'd be served in a paper cup. If you were buying a soda or anything like that, it's going to be in more of a paper cup. These are clearly different, so that it's easily to see, what's in the product there. A couple of other points that I would like to make on this particular. Let me go to the next slide. I'm sorry. There. So we've also got some additional alcohol service policies that we implement. Our serving sizes are no larger than a 16 ounce on a beer at a time. The wine pours are no more than 9 ounces of wine. And that we typically, we'll sell just 2. So like if I came out, I could buy one for me and my wife, and that's all I could make that purchase in that one particular transaction. Just a couple of concluding marks, and then I would invite Matt to kind of come up and augment a few of the things that I have said there. Century Movie Theaters is continuing to try to grow its business or actually maintain its business. It's investing in itself. It's spending millions upon millions of dollars each and every year trying to upgrade their movie theaters, upgrade their menus, and this the addition of beer and wine is simply a luxury amenity that we're trying to offer to our current patrons. We're not looking to change the character of the business in any way, shape, or form, but there's a lot of people that would like to come to the movies and be able to enjoy a beer or a glass of wine while they're watching the movies. In the locations that we're operating throughout the country here, we haven't had any types of issues with this service. No big complaints, no violations on our alcohol licenses, at least here in the state of California that I'm aware of, and so far all of our activity has been very, very well maintained and policed, and we simply haven't seen any other issues in other communities. So with that, Matt, I'll invite you up to maybe make a couple of additional remarks, and then we're obviously able to answer questions.
Good evening. Thanks for the time to speak with you guys this evening. A couple of things that I'll just augment off of what Steve said. From a technological standpoint, we've implemented electronic ID scanners at all of our locations that sell alcohol. Those ID scanners actually allow us to view how many times the person has purchased alcohol and the times that they have purchased the alcoholic beverages. So if somebody is frequently purchasing alcohol, we actually inform a manager immediately who follows them into the auditorium and make sure that they're the one that's consuming it personally. We also, at certain locations where the community deems it necessary, where the Planning Commission deems it necessary, we have utilized Wristband Id Management, where instead of serving 2 drinks to a singular patron during a transaction, we would only serve them 1, and they're also wristbanded at that point in time, so that anybody that goes into the auditoriums can be easily identified via the wristband that they are over the age of 21, and that's been verified by the ID check itself. One thing that I really did want to stress to you guys is that, as Steve pointed out, we take the sale and service of alcohol and the consumption of alcohol on our premises very seriously. There's obviously a lot of liability that we entertain by doing so, and in that, we also want to maintain the family-friendly nature of our entertainment facilities. It doesn't do us any good to sell alcohol and drive away families, so we do it in a way where it's really a luxury amenity for adults It's not meant as a place to turn the movie theater into a bar or a brew and view or anything along those lines. It's meant for somebody to consume at a normal rate, not overconsume, to have a additional ability to compete with, like Steve said, at the at-home theater market, and to offer the people the same thing that they could get within their own homes. We do not intend to take away that family-friendly nature. We always view our partnership with the communities as the key to our successes in any of our theaters, and to drive away our core guests just to be able to sell alcohol doesn't make any sense. So we make sure that all of our implementations are done with that family-friendly nature, and to maintain our customer base and make sure that they're happy with everything we're doing within our auditoriums. This particular site is going to be invested in heavily. We are looking at the luxury recliner remodel, which is a several $million project to put in the electronic chairs that have the reclining function in them and everything else. That also, in that, it does lessen the total occupancy of the theater, so there's less people within the theater at any given time. But what we do want to do is we want to improve the theater to the point where the community is happy with it. We want to maintain the happy customer base that we have right now, and we want to be able to offer people the luxury amenities that they could have at home. So, beyond that, I think Steve covered the majority of the topics that I would have talked about. So,
Thank you. Any questions at this point for the?
I'd like to ask him one question.
Yeah.
If we should consider allowing this, do you have any objection to all of the conditions that we would require in order for you to do? In other words, we wouldn't, if we have problems with something like this, we can jerk the conditional use permit.
Oh yeah, I understand. We have conditional use permits in several of our locations across California, so I'm familiar with the process.
I think so, because we don't want any problems in our community.
Understood.
Couple questions.
Mm-hmm.
What's the last hour of time the movie starts? 10 o'clock?
Typically, our movies, the movie start times end by 10:30. There are special showings where, there's certain new movies that come out that they do start at midnight or later. However, depending on the hours of service that are applied to a singular license, that's why we require the movie ticket, because it will denote the out time. So if the out time is past whenever the consumption timeline is, or hours of service timeline is, then we close the bar and we don't allow those patrons to purchase alcohol at that point.
Okay, the limit of volume of drinks per person.
We've applied different standards in different places depending on the comfortability of the community. Typically, it would be 3.
The servers must be 21.
The alcohol servers at the bar, yes. Everyone who is actually serving and selling alcohol at our counter service concessions, they are all 21. They are trained within the RBS training program in the state of California, as well as our Cinemark Standards program. So they have to be certified on both before they're allowed to actually work behind the bar.
So I take it if somebody has a couple drinks that the server has seen and he's allowed, you kick him out, or you warn him once and then...
If somebody is being disruptive within the auditorium, we would take them into the hallway to speak with them and get a better idea of whether it's an intoxication issue, an impairment issue, or whether it's just them being loud. What we would typically do in that standpoint is if they are reasonable, we would warn them, but then we would station somebody within the auditorium to monitor their conduct to make sure that it didn't happen as soon as we left. If they were not reasonable, they'd be removed.
My wife watches a movie. She wants quiet. Thank you. No other questions.
Other questions?
And I should add that that's another thing that, as Steve was pointing out during our auditorium checks, customer behavior within the auditoriums is key to customer satisfaction. And any additional things that we add into theaters, anything, whether it's food items that might be too loud, or whether it's alcohol that might have some form of impairment attached to it. We want to make sure that the number one thing that we're offering is a quality movie, and making sure that the customer behavior within the auditoriums, as well as the sound and the screens and the picture and everything else, we want that to be spot on first, because that is our core business.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to ask a couple questions. First of all, could you tell me whether or not, did you do a study where there is either a demand for such a thing which you're proposing? And is your reason a matter of profitability, or is there a trend? One of those three or all the above?
We have not done a study on it. We do have over 100 locations currently that sell alcohol, so about a third of our circuit. The attendance at those locations does not necessarily go up after we add alcohol. We don't see alcohol as a attendance drawer, like it's not going to bring people in that weren't planning on going anyway. What it does is it increases for us the amount people are willing to spend. You know, alcoholic drinks per capita are a little bit more expensive than a Coke would be. So we can drive revenues through that and do so in a responsible way by selling a singular drink versus a singular Coke. That being said, it is a trend driver throughout the industry where several of our competitors, AMC, Regal, Edwards, places like that, actually have a much higher percentage of their circuits that currently have alcohol. AMC has approximately 190 locations across the United States that are currently selling alcohol. And within the industry itself, it's seen as a trend, again, to sway away the at-home theater market where people can, stream movies that are most recently in the theater as of a few weeks or a month later, that they can enjoy alcoholic beverages while doing so at home.
Okay. And there are I want to make you aware of this, there are approximately somewhere in the neighborhood of 31 municipalities within the county of San Bernardino. And one of the slides that you showed, to the best of my recollection, I didn't recall seeing not one of those 31 cities on that slide. Was I mistaken, or maybe it was outdated, or what?
I'm not aware of how many other theaters we currently have in the county. I believe Apple Valley is in the county of San Bernardino.
Yes,
we actually just activated that one last month, so we do have that one that's actively selling alcohol currently.
But it wasn't on the slide.
No, as Steve pointed out, he did that when we first started having discussions with you guys, which is a few months back. So that has been since activated.
So is it safe to say that's the only municipality within San Bernardino County?
That we currently sell alcohol in? Yes, I believe so. But I don't think that we have many other locations out here currently.
And San Bernardino was on.
You did see those? Okay, I missed it.
Those aren't our theaters. Those are competitors' theaters, but they do sell alcohol in those ones.
Okay, thank you. So when did you start in Napa Valley?
Napa Valley, we were licensed in 2012.
In Apple Valley?
I'm sorry, I thought you said Napa Valley.
Apple.
Sorry. Apple Valley, I believe we started January, so January or December, one of the two. In the last 4 to 6 weeks, we started selling alcohol there.
Oh, and how's that going?
So far, it's going well. The customers there have had zero issues with it whatsoever. We had a very good conversation with the local police department there about how it hasn't had any effect on their calls for service or anything like that. So.
Can you give me any idea of any abuses that you may have occurred regarding this? Any abuses at all?
No, actually quite the opposite. In some locations that we've activated alcohol in, with the increased presence within the auditoriums, with the monitoring, the more regular monitoring that we do in locations that have alcohol, with the option to purchase and the regular checks that we do when we are allowing customers to buy alcohol directly from us, we see far less incidents that have to do with alcohol impairment than we would at locations that don't sell alcohol, where people are either drinking heavily before they come in or they're trying to sneak something in with them.
So are you indicating that you're not aware of or you're going on record saying there are
I'm not aware of a singular incident that we have had in the 11 plus years that I've been with the company that has had to do with a customer purchasing alcohol at our locations.
It relates to abuse?
Correct.
I'll yield back, Mr. Chairman.
Could I just tear off of your question, maybe? Do you know if the Department of ABC or the local sheriffs in any of your locations have done any stings to try and catch you?
Stings, yes. We go through stings regularly at almost all of our locations.
Passed, then. If you haven't been caught, then you've
We have had 2 locations where over the last 7 years that we have had a violation at. Those were prior to our electronic ID monitors, and that's why we ended up putting those in. Both of those times that Cinemark Theater, had an issue, it was a math error where the person did not do the math correctly in their head when they were trying to calculate whether or not it was over 21. So that we spent $75,000 to put electronic ID scanners in every one of our alcohol locations across the country.
Okay. I'm going to ask you maybe just to stand by, and we'll take other testimony.
No problem.
At this point. Okay, I'm going to open up the public hearing now, and I have actually 4 cards here. So I'll just start with, well, you came up first, so why don't you come on up and give us your name, please.
Hello, everyone. Happy Valentine's Day. My name is Sandy Gaitan. I am part of the Friday Night Live at Adelanto High School, and we are worried about what could happen if our movie theaters start selling alcohol. We have seen enough fights and problems the police have to take care of at the mall, and we don't want alcohol added to the situation. It's just not safe for several reasons. First, the theater is dark, and it is hard to tell who is drinking in there. Once alcohol gets into the theater, what's going to stop a person from handing it to the kid next to them? It would be too easy for an adult to buy a drink for someone who is underage. I've also heard stories of people having their drink spiked, which only takes about 2 seconds to put a pill in someone else's drink without them noticing. I don't want this kind of risk in a place where my friends and I love to hang out. Second, the mall is right by the freeway. If people are drinking up until the theater closes, they are most likely going to drink and drive. In Friday Night Live, we have learned that someone in the United States dies every 15 minutes as a result of drinking and driving. I don't want any of my friends to become a statistic like that. The theater is one of the few places we can go and have fun. We shouldn't have to worry about people drinking there. And having parents like mine, if alcohol was allowed to be sold in the theater, I wouldn't be able to go at all. My parents shouldn't have to worry about me being exposed to that in a place like that. We believe that our theater should be safe and alcohol-free. Thank you.
Can I ask you a question? What is Friday Night Live? With
Friday Night Live is an organization that goes through high schools and addresses issues people my age deal with every day, like alcohol, drugs, and teen pregnancies.
Thank you.
No problem.
I have another card from Nicole Ronnie.
Hello.
Hi.
Can you guys hear me? Okay. Hi. My name is Nicole Roney, and I am part of Friday Night Live from Adelanto High. Our members are very concerned about what could happen if the movie theater at the mall of Victor Valley began selling alcohol. I am old enough to know that a lot of time alcohol changes people's behavior in a bad way. It can cause them to act crazy, stupid, loud, and sometimes even violent. My friends, family, and I don't want to be around this kind of behavior when we are trying to enjoy a movie in peace and quiet. The movie theater is a place for family and friends to get together. We want to keep it that way. I'm even more worried about the dangers of people leaving the theater and driving home after drinking alcohol. There are usually a lot of teenagers in the mall parking lot as well as the theater, and this is just not safe for anyone. It could be a matter of life and death, and it's just not worth it. Kids need to be around adults who are good role models, not adults who are going to be drinking alcohol. The mall movie theater is one of the last safe places where family and friends can enjoy their time together, and where teens can have fun with their friends. There are enough bars in the high desert, so I am asking for you not to let our movie theater become into another bar. Thank you.
Thank you. Got a card from Eric Tieto. Oh, okay, that's you. Okay, thank you. And Garrison Villalobos.
Hello, I am Gerson Villalobos, and I'm in FNO chapter for the Adelanto High School. And I'm here to say that I don't think we should have alcohol in the movie theaters, because me, as an older sibling, the oldest in my family, I take my little sister and my little brother to watch movies sometimes. Me and my parents take us because it's a safe place to be. Knowing how it is up here, there's not many safe places. And so I go back to the movie theaters. Movie theaters is kind of a place for families and friends to hang out, because honestly, people nowadays just stay home, just go on their phones and just completely just stay there, be unsocialized, not do anything with their lives, and pretty much just be just on, I say it, well, not do anything, sorry. And, well, people shouldn't sell alcohols, because in the movies, like some people say, they want to be quiet. They want to enjoy a good movie. And people won't enjoy it if someone's drinking, being loud, just bumping into them, doing anything, just annoying them. And it's kind of a dumb idea, because there's other ways to make profit. Because how it is right here, it's kind of like sounding you're making profit over safety. And that's kind of like a big issue, because taking kids go there almost every day. Friday nights, Saturday nights, maybe Sunday, or maybe all the week. Many people go there to just have fun. Just watch movies, relax, play with family, friends. And no one really wants to be around a guy that's either passed out or drinking or just vomiting on the floor. Because they say it probably won't happen, but it will happen. It's kind of a thing that will happen someday. And people won't really go anymore. They would just stay home. And pretty much that causing distractions and stuff. But like I said, they're putting safety over profit, which means that a lot of kids won't be able to go to the movies. And as that being a last place, like a safe zone to watch entertainment, it would kind of cut that off for kids, like me and my little sister and my little brother. I wouldn't be able to take them watch movies, hang out with them, spend time with them, and I would pretty much ruin the family essence, I guess, because we're going in a place to kind of unite and watch and relax together. Also, what they didn't say with the people here, that they said that they would do ID checks and stuff like that, but what they didn't say is, what caught my eye really, was that they didn't say anything of how much security they would bring in. Because people get wild and violent and kind of stronger when they're drunk. They would need higher security, which would mean giving more money. They would need specific security guards to guard not every place, but at the entry, the lobby, and sometimes the hallways. They would need specific type of security guards that have like specific combat training to deal with this. And also, since they're selling alcohol, the gangs out here will try to take over that place and try to sell inside or somewhere near there, which would be kind of bad, because it would bring a lot more gangs, more gang fights, shootouts, which would really endanger the lives of many people. And again, as I say, I'm sorry if I'm reading, but as an older sibling, an older brother, I really want to be a good role model for them, for my little sister and my little brother, because I want them to grow up to be like me. A high school kid that will graduate, that will have a good life, a good job, a good house. I want them to see me as a good person that won't just drink beer and just get drunk or get high or anything, I want them to see me as a good person that they would like to admire. And it's kind of saying that alcohol will most likely bring gangs. It won't do it right away, but it will do it once in a while. Or it will do it one time. But that would bring fights, shootouts, and they can just run over two people or just go through the mall. And it kind of gets me mad how they actually want to sell alcohol where families and kids go to watch movie and relax. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else here to speak to us on agenda item number 6?
Good evening. My name is Anthony Rhodes, and I just wanted to, I'm pretty neutral on the subject. I honestly don't like the proliferation of liquor stores that we've had in the cities, especially in the high desert, because we do have an issue with impaired driving. However, I think of my experience in the movie theater, and I say only God can judge me, because I've taken candy into a movie theater in my pocket without purchasing it at the concession stand, and I could see that there's no difference of that happening or occurring in the current situation. For example, somebody can have a purse or their pockets and have an alcoholic beverage already on their persons when they enter the theater. So in my eyes, I'm thinking, in reality, there's no difference from the movie theater providing versus somebody bringing it on their persons upon entrance of the movie theater, because it's not as if you get frisked going into the theater itself. In addition, I believe that we're not going to see a large amount of people purchasing alcohol at the movie theater because, again, just as my actions, being younger, not being able to afford the concession stand candy, is that the pricing for the alcohol beverage would probably, and this is just my assumption based on experience of other movie theaters, that the price is considerably higher at these institutions. Just for example, at say a baseball game or a football game, you're not going, and the difference of those is that a baseball game you might pay more and do that because it's, I don't know, I guess it's culturally acceptable or socially, it's a social norm, but it's not a social norm to be that inebriated at a movie. I kind of tend to believe if the attack should be on alcohol, it should primarily be focused on liquor stores. And I agree with Commissioner Porter. I'd like to see if possible, or if this were the direction that the council or that the commissioners decide to go. And like I said, I am neutral on the subject, but it would be better to see a conditional use permit. That way, if there were violations of such or these things were to happen, and we'd have the ability to retract that permit and have more control over the issue than just rubber stamping it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anyone else to speak to us on item number 6? Okay, seeing no one, I will close the... Yes?
I would like to ask the petitioner a question.
Yeah, sir.
Typically when you go to the theater, there's a slide that tells you certain things regarding conduct. Do you have a specific slide that provides a warning to individuals, to your clientele, and what is the verbiage of that warning?
We don't currently have one, but I've never actually been approached on that before, and it's a really good idea. It's something that I will bring back to my corporate office and try to get implemented through there. There are certain Ideally, if we were going to do that, we'd have it in the trailer pack, and there are certain studio regulations, so I'm not aware of the contractual language on that.
Okay.
We do have control of the pre-show, but the pre-show wouldn't necessarily be the optimal point because not many people are in the theater at that point. So I will talk to the corporate office, the film folks, and see exactly how we would get that put in, but it is a great idea, not something that we've had in the past.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, one more question. You mentioned Apple Valley, and I've gotten feedback on that regarding Apple Valley. Do you have a security person there?
I'm not aware of the security plan there, but typically what we have is security companies that are there during peak hours. That would be Thursday nights, Friday nights, and then Saturday all day and night, and then Sunday during the daytime into the early evening. Just our busier hours.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I yield back.
With the increase in, the places that have had allowed the alcohol sales, now you had mentioned, increase in security and, people on staff to monitor this. Has that meant an increase in ticket prices? And
No, our ticket prices are set completely apart and separate from our concessions programs.
Okay.
We won't increase those.
Okay. And then one other question, I do have one. It goes in, so when a person comes in and they purchase alcohol, you give them a wristband, right? Okay. Now, if they brought in their own alcohol and they get the cup, they get a wristband, what's to prevent them, even though you're in a dark theater, you have security monitoring it every 30 minutes, you said. Are they shining flashlights to see what everybody's doing? Or
no, we don't want to.
How do you monitor it?
We don't want to disrupt the film-going experience by shining flashlights throughout the auditoriums. Like Council said, we have identifiable cups that the alcohol is served in, and then what we're looking for more than anything is customer behavior, so that if there is an issue with the customer behavior, which is I think what you're referencing in somebody consuming their own alcohol and getting to the point of being inebriated, where their behavior would be different, we would remove them from the auditorium to talk with them out in the hallway, and then if they were impaired, we'd remove them from the facility.
Okay.
Thank you.
So I'll go ahead and I'll close the public hearing, and I'll bring it back to the commission for deliberation and a decision.
Well, I have a comment. I really admire the young teenagers getting up. I don't have a major comment. I'm kind of neutral. I don't alcohol in theaters, but I guess that's kind of the trend that's going. So I really don't.
Oh, and on the recommendations, one of the recommendations was that we provide staff direction to require the review and approval of a conditional use permit, allowing operation standards to be applied to the use. And I think that would be the main thing that we would have, is so that if there is a problem. Now, the Sheriff's Department said that they had no concerns about it, because that was one of the concerns that we had initially. But we'd get rid of the problem if there was a real problem, And I think that you can go to a pizza parlor and have just pizza and Coke, or you can have pizza and beer. And it would be the same with any restaurant that you'd go into. I don't, with the things that they say that they're going to do, and we would hold them to that with a conditional use permit, I would think that it would be controlled. Yeah, more than it would be if you go and have a pizza. Anyway, that's my opinion.
And I was the one that asked for the advice and the thoughts from the Sheriff's Department on these operations, because I know our county handles a lot of the jurisdictions where these existing theaters would be that may serve alcohol. So we did get a report back from our San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department. where Captain Schuler did note that the sale of alcohol did not translate to additional problems with the Sheriff's Department on these other locations. However, the Sheriff's Department did say that they expressed that limits could be placed on the size and quality of drinks served. And so I think that's where we're touching on maybe some a conditional use permit with
2 drinks.
with some conditions on it, if that's the way the commission ends up wanting to go with a motion.
They have to bring this back anyway to us. Right?
As an amendment to the municipal code, yeah. Hopefully as a conditional use.
So then, if that's the way the commission wanted to go, Chris, it would be a recommendation to you to bring this back one more time with conditions that we may have discussed tonight. Is that how that would
You
work?
would be giving us direction to move forward with a municipal code amendment, which would allow movie theaters to sell out beer and wine with a conditional use permit.
If that was to happen, would that be able to happen at the next meeting?
Well, we would need them to turn in the application for the municipal code amendment and a conditional use permit at the same time and take it through
Are
the
you guys
the
okay
standard
with
process.
it could be a 2-month?
Chairman, I would like to know the reason for this being an expedient matter. I don't understand that.
For my comment that I made?
Well, if you said bring it back at the next meeting.
Oh, I was gonna, because I wanted to see if the commission goes that way, I wanted to just kind of make sure that the applicant wasn't saying, hey, we have an issue because of, because I don't like government to drag things out, basically. If we're gonna do it, do it.
I recognize that, but the applicant only has one municipality within the high desert, possibly in San Bernardino County, and that's Apple Valley, and they don't have enough data up to this point to give us an idea how it's really working in Apple Valley. And as you already know, the city of Victorville is different from the town of Apple Valley, that's for sure. I don't see the need for us to be expedited within the last 30, 60, or 90 days.
Yep, good point, and I think we need to discuss, you said, if the commission does move forward, we need to discuss conditions on it, if that's even the case. If there's, or a motion for a denial, whatever happens first.
A while for the code proposed amendment. I would say about 3 months before it would even go into effect. So, and we would have to approve the code amendment, and then we would have to approve his conditional use permit. So we're talking about quite a bit of time. It's not being expedited.
That might be the time frame you might be looking for, Commissioner Dew, as well, to do some the final vote with the commission.
Yeah.
Thank you. I yield back.
Yeah, because that's what I would need a little bit more time. Because I mean, for me personally, right now, I'm leaning to more B, just to prohibit the sale of alcohol. We had mentioned about controlled environments, restaurants. The pizza parlors and stuff. Those are more controlled environments, to me, than a place to where you can purchase the alcohol. Go into a completely different facility within the building, which is dark, and like you say, you really don't know who's drinking it. We can impose limits. There can be the different size of cups. Nothing prevents a person from buying one beer in a clear cup and then drinking their whiskey in that same clear cup. That's kind of my take on things. So yeah, I would need a little bit more information. Well, a lot more information. As far as some of these, different facilities that have withdrawn their licenses, have surrendered their licenses. What were some of the reasons behind that? Obviously there was a reason that they had to surrender their license or withdraw, Okay.
I'll make sure the public hearing is open. Thank you.
While I don't know every circumstance, I do know some of the licenses. Sometimes you'll surrender a license if you had a Type 41 and you upgraded to a 47, then you would surrender your Type 41 license, and what you're getting off of there is literally every license and ABC tracks 41s and 47s, and so oftentimes they'll surrender the license because they changed their license type. So it's a function of semantics in terms of the ABC there, and in terms of withdrawing license applications, I couldn't speculate as to necessarily why. Sometimes it's not in the program, like a lot of the movie theaters, like Matt said, are trying to upgrade their seating and so on and so forth, and so sometimes they lay out capital expenditure plans, and those plans sometimes change mid-year. So they may have said, oh, hey, we were going to do that facility this year, but hey, we've changed, we've had to do some rebudgeting, and that one's not going to happen this year. We're going to wait another year or something like that, and that would be a reason that somebody would withdraw their application, is because they're, it's not on the cycle there. So if that lends any information for you.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, I'll reclose the public hearing. I think my thoughts in general, I was, a while back when I first heard that, hey, movie theaters are going to, apply for a license to sell beer. I thought, I didn't think people would be interested in that, but then I thought, well, heck, people want to drink a beer at any restaurant they go to usually, sporting events, social gatherings. So if somebody, I guess I could see somebody wanting to have a beer when they go to relax at a movie theater. I think there's probably in reality less of a chance of somebody getting unruly, having behavior problems from the alcohol, because it's an hour and a half to 2 hour movie and it's dark and it's not a party atmosphere. People are not going back to the bar and socializing and partying and drinking more. Which could happen at restaurants, bars, nightclubs. That can happen at sporting events, but I don't really see that happening in a movie theater, especially when it's so quiet and almost self-policed. If somebody's doing something too loud down at the other end, I'm always looking, and there's some kind of usher that would come in. I think it could be okay, but if we did move in that direction, I definitely would want to move towards a conditional use permit with some. I don't necessarily have a size condition. I'm pretty sure they use the standard, cups. But I like. I think I even read it somewhere in here. No more than 2 drinks per person. That may be a condition.
I agree.
I'll make a motion to continue with this. Deem a movie theater similar to a restaurant use, and require the review and approval of a conditional use permit. Start with that.
I'll second that motion.
We have a motion by Commissioner Huber with a second by Chair Kurth to review requirements for a conditional use permit. All in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed?
Abstain.
I abstain also.
Okay, we have a vote to review this case for a conditional use permit with Commissioner Dew and Commissioner Huber abstaining for the vote.
Marsh.
I'm sorry. Commissioner Marsh and Commissioner Dew abstaining for the vote. Thank you.
Okay, so those of you who might be unclear, we've put this back into the Court of City Staff. Nothing has been approved or denied as of tonight, okay? The suggestion was if it is to be approved by this commission, then there would be conditions on it. So that's what's happening right now. Staff is going to work on bringing this back as a formal application with some conditions, and then the commission will be deliberating on that and voting on it. And once again, just as Commissioner Huber had stated, we're very impressed, and we thank the young folks for coming out, getting involved, caring, and we will be having another meeting on this. So, you know, check your information and feel free to be back to discuss more with us on not just this item, but any other item of interest in this city. Thank you. Thank you.
And Chairman Kurth, if I may clarify, the conditional use permit does require a code amendment. So we'll work with Cinemark Theaters for them to apply for a code amendment and bring that forward back to you at a future meeting with additional information.
Thank you. Okay. Comments from planning commissioners before we wrap it up. Commissioner Marsh.
No, I have none.
Commissioner Huber.
Not this time.
Commissioner Dew.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. First of all, I appreciate the information provided by the staff, and I'd like to make an observation regarding the workshop prior to our commission meeting. I thought it was beneficial, and it's my impression that a collaboration of government, private sector, and various industries is essential in moving forward. One thing as relates to regulating the use of land, which is very precious. It's not an undertaking I take very lightly, and I know that there are some concerns regarding bike lanes and how much we're going to grow. I am pro-growth, but I'm pro-growth as it relates to doing it a smart way. I care to do everything as smart as possible. That's me. That's my take. So I didn't consider it to be a waste of my time. I thought it was a healthy debate, and I look forward to more discussion. As relates to, I want to address a national tragedy. As you know, I was on 2 school boards, and I'm always looking for ways in which we can keep our children safe. And as I've gone on record, the loss of one life is one life too many. So that is most regrettable. Young students who showed up today, that gives us an outlook that the future is bright as it relates to the millennial generation. So I'm very confident that they would do the diligence that's necessary in moving our municipality forward, our state forward, and in fact our nation forward. I didn't have the courage to speak at a setting such as a government such as ours, and so they clearly have my admiration. There's one thing I know about growth, life. At different stages of life, we all grow. It's something that we can't escape. So I consider this to be a very highly intellectual meeting that I will always cherish for a long time. Thank you, and I yield back.
I have nothing. Is there any comments?
I have one more
go
comment
ahead.
to staff. Tonight after the meeting, it's kind of said about we don't have to put bike paths in every road. Can't you prepare, and I know that creates a liability, maybe, prepare roads for a bike path and put them in where's needed? And I know that could create a liability, but to me, I hate to see a bicycle alongside me, driving down the road or in front of me, because they're all over the road. So like the gentleman tonight in the study session, Palmdale Road is one road that people are driving too fast and the roads are bumpy and, a bicycle hits a bump and rolls. So I guess if staff could take that into consideration, yes, this road, we could put a bike path in, we could do everything for it, but don't put it in. And then the time comes. I was surprised the bicycle people weren't here tonight. From Apple Valley, that group that come to speak at city council meetings. They weren't here. That's all I have. Good meeting, two good meetings.
Yep. Any final comments, staff members?
Yes, if I might, thank you, Chairman Kurth. If you've noticed over the last couple of months, Scott's been taking more control of the Planning Commission, so it is a good time for me to step out of the way and let him run the meetings. I wanted to thank the Planning Commission for your service. You probably don't hear that enough, but as planning staff, we try to provide you the best information we can for you to make the best decisions possible for the city of Victorville. And we really appreciate the fact, the time that you guys put into it. You're obviously not here doing it for the money. You're doing it. That's we like to think that we're doing the same for the city as well. So thank you very much.
I'm doing it because I like Andre here.
So you've seen him once in 8 years?
Okay, with that, meeting adjourned. Thank you all.